maybe now would be a great time if you want to give us a little reading from Sutherland Rules here.
I'd love to. I have an old edition here, so I've redesigned it with a new cover.
I have a.
Oh, Bill might help us here.
I have
That's the one. Edition. That's the last edition.
There we go.
Sutherland's Rules is
super fan.
He's my biggest fan, and I love him for that and many other things. Sutherland's Rules is kind of a bucket list thriller with a touch of the fantastic. It has mature protagonists because I get very tired of everyone in thrillers being 25 years old. Old people are smarter and they can have adventures too.
The whole population is 18 to 25. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, no one exists outside those time, those age frames.
So Sutherland's Rules is, as I say, it's a bucket list. The short story is that it's about two old friends, one of whom used to be a hippie and a dope smuggler. And he has a 40-year-old IOU from an Afghan farmer for 250 kilos of hashish. And he's 60, Billy, the protagonist, is 60-some years old now. And he decides, in the middle of all the chaos in Afghanistan, he decides he's going to collect on this old IOU. So the book is about, first of all, it's about love and friendship and the power of those things. It's also about loyalties and intergenerational debts and the freedoms we've given away as a society. And I hate reading books where the writer has an agenda and they're trying to hammer it on you. And
this isn't that, though.
I could name a lot of those guys.
For sure.
So I try not to do that. I like to think I write intelligent thrillers because the more important messages are in it if you want to look for them. I'm trying not to hammer the reader with them, but they're there. We swim in the sea of flashy.
Right.
Okay, so short read. This is when the secondary character arrives in London to meet his friend Billy, who's asked him to help him with this madcap smuggling adventure. Both the characters are in their 60s. The baggage scanners at Heathrow today were the size of a small car. From the moment you stepped off the plane, visible and concealed systems photographed and analyzed your every move. Face and gait recognition, infrared, iris scanners, voice stress analyzers, and a variety of other cutting-edge technologies were deployed in the service of keeping Albion free of undesirable influences. In terms of extending its reach, 9/11 was the greatest gift law enforcement around the world could have wished for. Looking out the cab window in the bright noon as it whisked him along the Bayswater Road to his hotel, Christian thought London seemed modern and cheery. Quite an achievement considering the lousy economy, the long-running protests, and the ubiquitous surveillance cameras. One article he'd read suggested that the average Londoner was caught on various security and CCTV cameras several hundred times a day, and could sometimes be visually tracked for miles. The nation had sleepwalked into a surveillance future that made Orwell seem like an optimist. And the tiresome line that an honest citizen had nothing to fear was just so much bull. Try telling that to someone mistakenly flagged as a potential threat and put on a no-fly list because of a software glitch or a mistaken data entry, or to some innocent bugger shot dead by the police as a result of mistaken identity. The terrorists had won. No two ways about it. When a handful of semi-literate cavemen several thousand miles away could upset the lifestyle of an advanced society of hundreds of millions of civilized people, they'd won. Game over. And how? because we've become so soft, so afraid, so dependent on faceless structures and institutions to tell us what to do, how to act, what to think, that we actually deserve to lose.
Wow. And that's why, and what I love about that, besides, I mean, just really powerfully written and executed, is how well it fits into the story. Because you take that to your description, right? They're going to try to smuggle some drugs now, into the UK, into that environment, into that fear, into that surveillance state. And they just want to smuggle some weed, right? I mean, we're just
for personal use,
right? Yeah, so for personal use weed, and we make it out like, oh my God, look at these states legalizing it. It's so wonderful, and it's just like, why have we had this prohibition all along? I think it's hilarious. It's like, legalized in California. Of course, we taxed it to damn near death, and it's still tons of illegal weed out there because you can't sell it legally and make the same profits as the illegal. But that's our own special California thing. But society didn't crumble. Colorado society didn't crumble. Portland society is not crumbling from these things.
Yeah, prohibitions don't work. I actually don't even smoke dope. But prohibitions clearly don't work. And America didn't learn this in the 1930s. It still hasn't got it. Most of the world still hasn't got it. And as you know, this is where we get into the silly rules. As one of my characters in Sutherland's Rules says, it's kind of surreal that we have plants that grow freely on the earth and we're not allowed to touch or use or eat or smoke. This is surreal.
Right. Yeah, it is.
So that's just one aspect of one of my rants.
And one of the things, and if everyone would forgive me, I'm sitting on a bar stool and this thing wants to slowly descend. So if you see me fidgeting, it's
I can shake my table. I can do better.
But and it's true that, and I don't want to make it out for the viewers here that Sutherland Rules is didactic, right? It's those things are touched on, but they feed into the story. Like that aspect, that's a very real aspect of society, right? Like prohibition didn't end. We switched prohibition from alcohol to drugs, right? We just created there's this war on alcohol, right? We didn't call it that. There was a war on liquor. Now there's a war on drugs, right? And we made it out the reefer madness and all this crazy bullshit that we
been going on 100 years.
Right. And so that's the society that's part of the complications for the characters. And the characters are so well drawn, and they're such a great relationship. And they're just fun to kind of be along on the ride. But I think that's one of the things that I personally really love about your writing, is that you don't lose sight of the societal impacts of it. Right. And it's like, I always try to tell my kids, like, you're just born somewhere, right? Like, you don't feel guilty. You're born there. You're born to this society. And the only obligation you have is try to do the best you can. Like, you can try to fix it, try to make it better, but you also have to live. Like, you're born here, you're born in the next place. Maybe we're reincarnated and we flip around, from good to bad, right? Like, who knows?
And I think, and also this is for the writers out there in part, what makes characters interesting is attitudes. I edit a lot of work where the characters don't have enough interiority. They don't have enough judgment about the world around them. And the reality is that real people, you and I, it doesn't matter what we're doing or what we're looking at, we're judging and assigning values to everything all the time. And
we're liking or retweeting.
For instance.
Right. I mean, it's like, we love those things. When they take it away, we get upset. Oh, there's no likes on YouTube or something.
That's the dopamine hit.
But it's true that we like that decision.
You've got to be liking or disliking. Characters have to append judgment all the time as they move through a story, because that's what real people do, and that's what keeps the thing on the boil, and it's what gives you insight into character.
Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely. So, well, thanks for that, Dario. So let's go ahead and finish up here. So if people want to learn more about you, your writing, they want to get in touch to you to help them with their next great American novel that they're going to write, despite my horrible suggestion, you're not. I'm sure you're going to write it, big guy. How do they get a hold of you? How do they find more information?
Oh, you can Google me. It brings up thousands of results, and including my blog. But they can just email me at dariowriter@gmail.com. dariowriter@gmail.com. That's DARIO.
All right. And we'll put links, and we'll have it, on the this will be on YouTube, will be on my website, so there can be a ad-free version, because God knows YouTube is like ads every 33 seconds now.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Not to go on an aside, but I was watching YouTube the other day and realized they have more ads than old network TV does, right? It used to be a half hour, you had 22 minutes that were show, right? And the other it was like an ad every 3 minutes, and if you didn't skip it, that ad played for 5-10 minutes. But we'll have it on there, we'll have it on the website, which will be free. Just sign up with a email address. And just for everyone watching, the goal of this show, besides trying to find something entertaining for you and introduce you to some like just important writers, people you should pay attention to. I'm not going to advertise the liquor behind me. This is my home bar. No one's sponsoring, nothing. There's going to be no sponsors here. There's going to be no ads. The whole goal, support your writers, right? So if you listen to Dario, you got that excerpt of Sutherland Rules, please pick it up. Or other books here. Like I have them because again, super fan. But yeah, Black Easter is another one here. I do have a copy of Aegean Dream. I don't think it's in my behind the bar pile here. But support the writers, support me if you like. Just try to support them. That's the whole. If there's a product we're trying to sell, that's it. It's just the writing we got.
I'd like to add, buy Bill's books and read them. He's a damn good writer.
Thank you for that. And with that, we'll call it a day. Thanks everyone, and keep drinking.
Thanks everyone. Thanks Bill. That was wonderful.